Right, so how do you define or create objects, classes and objects? So class starts with class keyword, as we see already, and followed by a class name. And inside the class, we can declare instance variables, one or more. We can declare a constructor, one or more, which we'll see a little later. And we can also declare methods. That follows by method declaration rules that we saw earlier. Okay, let's see an example. So here we have a class called person, which has a string name. That's the instance variable, and that's it. That's the class can be as short as this one, or even shorter. And to construct an object of a class, we can call create a name called person1, which is a type of person. So we used to create names that are integer double strings. Now we can actually create names that belong to certain classes. So person1 is a new person. So this is a very common line of how to construct an object of class. We can then access or assign or set class members like person.name and then set it to Alex. We can also access person.person1.name, so to print its value. And the output will be Alex in this case. Although there is no syntactic rule that enforces it, a well-designed class should define one and only one logical entity. So in some examples, a student class, a account class can represent a bank account, a vehicle can be a general vehicle, a dice class, or maybe a geometric shape such as rectangle. So let's see one more example before we try this on our own. So we have a vehicle class, which is again class vehicle. It has got integer seats, integer fuel cap, and integer mpg, mileage per gallon, as instance variables. And that's the end of the class. That's the end of class declaration. It doesn't have any behaviors, it just holds data. And to construct an object of that class and use it, we're going to need another class which should have a main method. And notice that our original class vehicle does not have main method because we cannot run them on their own. They don't do anything, they just define how a class should be. But generally we construct objects within a class that has a main method. So in this case, vehicle car is a new vehicle. We can then declare another one, vehicle minivan is also a new vehicle. So those are two separate objects. You can assign, you can set set the members or set their instance variables. So car.mpg set to 25, car.fuelcap set to 12, and you can do others. Okay, so let's see this in the editor. So let's write our vehicle class here. So I'm going to save this file as vehicle demo, and I'll explain why I have to call it vehicle demo in a little later. But first we need to create our vehicle class. So a class called vehicle, and this class has three instance variables. So integer seats, integer fuel cap, and integer mpg. Okay, so this 5 lines here defines a class called vehicle. Now I can create a class called vehicle demo. Just that. Okay, so this vehicle demo has a main method. Okay, so inside the main method I can construct a vehicle object, so from a vehicle class. So vehicle, let's call this car or car1, is a new vehicle. So that's how we do, and let's test this. So we can compile this. So Java C vehicle demo.java. So looks good. So we have, when we compile, notice that there are actually two .class files. One of them is vehicle.class and the other one is vehicle demo.class. And then remember our discussion earlier, you can't run this one because this class doesn't have its own main method. So what we can do, we can call the vehicle demo.class, and nothing happens because we only created an object, we didn't do anything. So with the same method we can create another vehicle called minivan. This is also a new vehicle. Okay, so and now what we can do is we can notice that we have a minivan and we can also have a car. What we can do is we can set the values. We can say minivan, I'm going to do this with the minivan dot seats is 7 and minivan dot fuel cap is say 17. I'm making up the numbers. And minivan dot mpg, and that is say 22. Okay, so now our minivan object holds 3 pieces of information. One, the number of seats that minivan has, fuel cap, the number of gallons it can take to the tank, and miles per gallon. So okay, so what can we do with this? We can say, since I have a fuel cap and mpg, I can calculate the range. So I can say integer range. The range would be fuel cap times mpg. So we can say minivan dot fuel cap times minivan dot mpg. So then I can print this. So I can have a print statement. I already copied this, so to save from time, I'm just gonna paste this, saying that minivan can carry this many passengers, which is seats, and with a range of range. Okay, so minivan dot seats and range. So I'm forgetting this here. That's here. There you go. So let's see what happens now if I compile. Again, when we compile vehicle demo.java, I'm recompiling both the vehicle and the vehicle demo together. Except, okay, so a minivan can carry 7 passengers, that I should say, with range of, let's say, just with a range of whatever the range is. Okay, change the values, you'll get a different output. One more error, here we go. Just now it looks good. So a minivan can carry 7 passengers. We got it from minivan.seats, and with a range of 374, probably should say miles. Okay, so as I said earlier, if I try to call vehicle to run, which is a vehicle.class, but I'll get an error saying that main method not found in class vehicle. Please define the main method as public static void main and on. Okay, so well, what else we can do here? We can actually assign the attributes to the car as well, and we can use it in any kind of calculation. But notice what happens here is that vehicle is a type of it's a data type. They can hold 3 integer values for us separately.